my younger self, what's your story?
To my younger self.
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 To my younger self. What's your story? To my younger self. What's your story?
Well, hello and good morning. How is everybody doing? It is so wonderful to see you. Oh my goodness, you have to forgive me. Um, the background and everything is switching up, and we are just working very, very hard trying to figure it all out. So you have to forgive us. My face is too red anyway. I'm not going to go there. But to my younger self has moved house, and we have like all kinds of things. There's a lot of construction going on in the background, and when we come back in 2023, I was about to say 2022, things would be so much better. So for today, just bear with us as we kind of recalibrate and do all of that. And if you are just joining us, the show is To My Younger Self. My name, of course, is Zoe Baraka, and we are here to tell stories from our past that would propel us into the future. Today is our last show of the year. Listen, I was trying to do some calculations and I was like, oh my God, look how far God has brought us though. Because, I mean, think about it. That's 4 guests in a month, and we did that consistently for like 12 months or maybe 11 months and 2 weeks. You know, it sounds every once in a while I come on by myself, but how many times did I really get to do that? So it's just been incredible. We've had incredible people join us. Good morning, big brother Nana Awere Damoah. I hope you're doing well. So good to see you. I am not sure what's going on, but our internet is giving us a little bit of a thing too. So we're working on all of that, like I said, okay? Professor Audrey, it is good to see you. Hi. Alrighty, let's go into this, and let's just greet each other from different parts of the world like we always do, but especially different parts of Africa. All right, and now if you just got into the room, I do want you to say hello to me, okay? Please say hello in your local dialect to me. I would love to hear from you. Baraka da zua to you, yaya de kakwana lafia sanunku da zua. We hope you slept well. I just greeted you in Hausa. Ya ken ya tuma fuduwela tuma awela tipose baraka. We are so grateful that you are here. We just greeted you in Kusal. Ndina to you, Wezo Leke. I hope you are doing well. If you speak Ebe and you're from the Volta region of Ghana, I just greeted you. Etisen Akwaba Owentiden Yamawachi. I hope you slept well. I'm greeting you in all the dialects, or at least some of the dialects of the Akan language. So hello. Sawubonani to you. If you speak Zulu, I'm always saying how just grateful we are for our South African friends, because you guys come on strong. It's normally after the show, but you still come on really strong, and so we're very grateful for that. Ibio like Ebella to you and Ibio Kibari to you. I just butchered the Moshi dialect, but or Moshi language, but hey. Lale to you. That's hello in Chadian Arabic. I know. In Tuomafe, how are you doing? I just said hello to you, and also how are you doing in Chadian Arabic? It is so good to see you. Te oyoten oje ko to you. It is very good to see you. Of course, salam alaikum to you. For all of our African friends who are in the northern parts of Africa, we did promise that we're going to start greeting you, which was a big boo-boo on our part. How could we not have thought about Northern Africa when we were greeting people from the west of Africa, Eastern Africa, Southern Africa, and we forgot about the North? That was, so Salahadin, thank you for drawing our attention to that. Ikaro to you, and of course Ekabo to you if you speak Yoruba in Nigeria or anywhere in the world, really. Nagadef to you if you speak Wolof. Jambo habari gani, karibu sana to you. It is good to see you. Kotong to you, Amuhelang to you. Of course, if you speak Fofoldi, I am greeting you. Kotoli'i to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Bom dia to you if you speak Portuguese. Bonjour, of course. Buongiorno, buenos dias, and good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's go in there and see who is here. Ralia is here. Oh. Big Brother says he's the first comment, and so he is dancing. Yes, dance, dance, dance. Hello from snowy London. I know it is snowing. I heard it was snowing really, really hard in London. Juliet, it is good to see you. Thank you for joining us all the way in London. Ralia is in the motherland. Can I just say how jealous I am? Because I really, really am. Good to see you. And of course, morning to you, Beverly, one of our topmost fans. It is good to see you. What are we here to do today? Today, we're here to talk about incredible things. The things that have happened over the last 11 months or so. Well, 12 months, because we are in the 12th month, in the 12th month of 2022. All the incredible guests that came on, some of the incredible things that we got to do, the great lessons we got to learn from all of our guests. We are here to just share all of that. And also we're here to share some Christmas memories, right? And of course, to do that with me is our showrunner, show producer, extraordinaire herself, Elsie Dickson. Today, I have done like a mental washout, and I am not going to use the word big sister. Okay, one time, just this time, and then I'm done. I think it's out of my system. Maybe, I don't know. But so Elsie Dickson is joining us, and she's going to share some memories of her childhood, just growing up. And yes, Audrey, I know there's a little bit of a minor lag in the video. It's the internet service. Like I said, we've been moving around to my younger self, and we're kind of like working around some things. And it's just, it's a minor, tiny thing. And we're going to concentrate on the storytelling part of this show as opposed to the technical aspect of it today. So let's kind of just get into it. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. So joining me today is Big Sister herself, producer of this show. I mean, she's one of the producers, but I'm always saying, Big Sis, I did promise I wasn't going to say that, right? Okay. Elsie Dickson is the real go get things done producer of To My Younger Self. We have, line producers and associate producers, but this is the Ogbara producer herself. She's a lawyer. She lives in Canada. She's a mother of 2 incredible children, and also she is married. That's all you really need to know. The one thing I know Big Sis or Elsie wants you to know is the fact that she is the general observer of people in life. I feel like she's the kind of person I will sit in a coffee shop with and kind of daydream or talk about the people passing by and saying, kind of making stories about their lives with. That's who she is. And just an incredibly all-round, absolutely amazing person. She's like an octopus, okay? Like she knows everybody and knows about almost everything. And also to top it off, she is an incredible prayer warrior. I cannot tell you how many times I knock on her door virtually. I'm calling her, I'm texting her, even when she's telling everybody else she's very busy. I just kind of don't care sometimes. I just bother her. But she is always available for me, and she is always on top of things. I'm going to stop gushing, and I'm just going to bring Big Sis on. Oh God, Zoe, stop calling her Big Sis. She is going to give you She's going to take some marks off of you today if you don't stop calling her big sis. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a big, 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 big favor and please go into the comment section and help me welcome the absolutely incredible co-producer of To My Younger Self, the show itself, the absolutely incredible Elsie Dickson.
You know what I'm thinking, right? Good morning, everyone.
Like, girl, why
Good
are you
afternoon.
so long? Why are you doing all of this? I cannot.
I should have warned you, reminded you again that, listen, no need for long introductions, no long talk needed. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon.
Wow, how are you?
Hear you. I'm well, thank you. I hope you
Good.
are as well.
I am well. Yes, Merry Christmas to you all the way in Canada.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I hope everyone is keeping well.
Yes, yes, we are. We are. Oh my goodness. Well, before we go into it, since it's Christmas, we have a group of incredible women who got together. They're from the GOT Women in Waiting, a group that I belong to. And actually, our producer also belongs to this group, just a group of women who come together almost every week, praying for each other, encouraging each other, being there for each other. And we had a Christmas party virtually, and they came together, and there's a team in there called the ASAF team. These are the minstrels and the musicians and the lyricists and the people that kind of just love music. And they came together and they had like a really good Christmas song session, okay, or Christmas carol session. And we thought we would share it with you. So this is our welcome song to you. And of course, producer and I are just going to sit back and kind of enjoy the show. And if I could have just actually loaded it before the show, this would be so much simpler.
Well, listen, to our viewers, when the video finally runs, please sing along. Please
Yes.
sing along.
Oh my goodness. Again, I do apologize. There really is some kind of a lag. And being the technical person that I am, this is really bothering me. You're probably going to see it on my face a lot. Just forgive me in advance. I am not excited about this at all. But we're just going to roll with it. Okay, here we go, guys. All right, here we do not go. It's about to play. I promise it will play.
There we go.
There we go.
Holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth.
Hooray! Yay! Christ is born.
And
Oh, it was so wonderful. God's women in waiting, thank you for allowing us to actually share in this. It felt like we were all just sitting under a tree and just singing along, and there's like fire crackling, and we had like our little cups of chocolate and tea or whatever else you drink, you know, eggnog and all that. And we're just kind of chilling. This was so, so wonderful. Well, big sis, now that we've kind of, I literally felt you go like, why?
but you know what? Listen, and then I saw a couple comments in the chat that Christmas carol singing really is such a big part of Christmas.
Yes.
And when I think back over the years, as far back as I can remember, that has been a central part of it. So I'm glad we got to set the ambiance,
Yes.
you know, for our viewers and for to my younger self family. And some of the people in the choir, some of the beautiful ladies in the choir were to my younger self alums, so
Yes.
and viewers. So it felt very special in that way. And I think it kind of triggers me into some of my memories related to singing Christmas carols. First of all, let me show you something, okay? It's well loved, it's beaten up.
God.
Do you know what this is? Hang on, let me show you. First, look at the dates in it. I don't know if you can see it, but anyhow, this is my hymn book from secondary school.
Oh my goodness.
Seriously, I bought this particular one when I was going to lower 6, and I will not tell you what year it was, but that's why it's beaten up.
That was probably in like 2000 and what?
I'll take it. But this hymn book was such a huge part of growing up in secondary school at Christmas time. Christmas time is my favorite time of the year. It gives me the reason, a perfect excuse to kind of kick back into my younger self. And I went to a Methodist school, Wesley Girls, and every Christmas, our beloved music master, a music teacher of blessed memory, his name was Mr. Wijona, and we called him Pa Wijo.
Pa Wijo.
Anybody Joe had his choir, and he would give us the most obscure songs to sing. In fact, there were some Christmas songs that we sang that I was sure he had composed, and it was only maybe a couple of decades later that I would hear them and go like, oh, so Powie Joe, this is actually a song. There was one, for example, called the Zeta Carol, and it was just zing, 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 zing.
I've never.
Listen, I mean, it has other parts of it, but we all called it, I mean, it was a zinging down song. But we sang all these hymns, you know, the "O Come All Ye Faithfuls," the "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." I remember "Hark the Herald Angels Sing" in particular because I learned how to sing it before I could speak English. French was my first language, and it was a hymn my parents sang a lot. And I learned how to sing it without really understanding all the words. So every time I hear "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," it takes me back to my 6-year-old self.
Oh.
So back to Powie Joe, though. Funny story. At the time, I did not find it funny. But it was well known that I loved my Christmas songs, and I could sing any of them, the hymns, the popular ones, the secular ones. I could sing them back and front completely. And I took it upon myself to be the Christmas person in school. And so for carol service, I would go around the school, I'd pick bricks and wrap them in gift wrap paper and put it under the tree in the chapel so it would look, you know, festive. Pine cones, which we called monkey brush growing up, you know, I would string them together and hang them in the tree. I mean, set it up. So anyhow, one day I was wandering around the school, and somebody came up to me and said, you know, Sister Elsie, Mr. Wijona is looking for you.
Aish.
So I went. I mean, I was a member of the choir and had been interacting with me. He had taught me music, so I wasn't a stranger to him. So I went. I was in the dining hall, I think, when the person caught up with me. So I walked up to the chapel, and Powie Joe was sitting behind his trusted piano, and he used to call me Ekutuasi. He had this thing. He had this thing where he would butcher people's names in a very affectionate way. So he said, Ekutuase, I hear you know Christmas carols, pa. And I was like, yes, Mr. Wijona, I know. I do. He says, well, do you know the little drummer boy? I said, yes. He says, can you sing it? I want the words. So I said, sure. Which verse do you want? And he says, oh, you know all the verses. I said, yes, I do. He says, okay. Now, this was the day of carol service. Okay, let me set that up for you. It was the day of carol service. People from outside the school had been invited, including infant boys.
Oh,
and it was a big deal. The choir was going to perform. It was a big deal.
And boys were there, so yeah.
And anyways, so when he asked me if I knew how to sing it, I assumed he just wanted the words. So I started, rummaging around for a piece of paper so I would write the words for him. So when he said, I said, which verse do you want? Do you want the whole thing? He says, oh, you know the whole thing. I said, yes. And I was getting ready to write it. He just goes, good, you're singing it this evening at carol service.
Oh, no.
Listen, my vim for singing and my vim for the excitement of Christmas is more behind the scenes. I like the setup. I like the gift giving. I like surprising people. I like decorating. I like singing in a choir. I don't do solos. So it's like, but Mr. Wijona. He says, Ekutuase, you are singing at carol service. Hey. So anyhow, I walked out of there completely overwhelmed. And I managed to convince him to give me a backing track. And I said, if I find the cassette tape, and I'm dating myself now, I said, if I get the cassette tape, I'm happy to sing along to it. He says, no problem. So I got the tape because I had it. So anyways, my vim for the decor was overshadowed by my anxiety for singing this thing. And he says, oh, by the way, you need to do it in costume. Hey,
wait, so you had to dress like a little drummer boy?
Yes, a whole sixth former me. So anyhow,
I wish you had pictures.
Oh, thank God there were no pictures. Anyhow, so I find a whole, the Danish butter cookies, the tin that was a very popular, cookie, but once you were done with it, you used it as a sewing box. So you had your sewing thread and your needles and whatnot, your needlework box. So I took my needlework box, wrapped it up, got a stick, and I said, okay, that's my drum. Then I started thinking, little drummer boy, rustic, got a pair of shorts, and then got batakari. For those who are not from Ghana, batakari is a smock that men wear, and it's made from a heavy woven fabric, a traditional in the northern parts of Ghana and many other countries. So anyways, I had my batakari. And so at the beginning of the service, I was part of the choir, sat in the choir and sang. And then I went back to, for those of you who visited Wesley Girls or went to Wesley Girls, there's a lane that runs through the center of the school called Atra Lane. And so the guests, including the Kwabutre boys, were sitting on either lawn. Wow. He just says to me, go stand at the back of Atra Lane and walk and sing through the lane to the forecourt.
Oh my God, with 1 day preparation.
Not even 1 day, a couple hours. So I'm sitting there, but my hope is in the backing track. This is very important for the story. I'm standing at the back quietly while the choir finishes the song just before mine. And I see people start to turn their heads and whispers, because it hadn't been rehearsed in the whole thing.
Yes.
So whispers, and I'm like, oh, Lord Jesus, you got to help me now. I'm waiting for my backing track to start. No music.
Oh.
And I'm waiting. And then I see somebody, one of the choristers, scuttle down behind the crowd and comes to whisper in my ear. And she goes, Archie says, no music, sing it a cappella. Archie was our headmistress. She says, nobody should play any tape. Sing it a cappella. So unrehearsed, as tremulous as the original drummer boy, I think the drum probably was louder. And you need to understand that while I was doing this, first of all, I did not want to embarrass myself because you're a senior, you're in the sixth form.
Yes.
And then the Puppetry Boys were there. And, you know, external board of directors who were the other thing. Oh, anyhow, so here was I. As I was singing it out loud, I was having an internal conversation. Don't mess up the words, Elsie. Do not drop the drumstick. Do not drop the drum. One foot in front of the other. While singing my parappa-pum-pums one step at a time. All the way, listen, all the way to the front court with people smiling. I did not find it funny. When I finally got the forecourt at the end of the song, I could not wait for the We Three Kings. It was like a cantata. So I could not wait for the We Three Kings of Orient, our people, to come and do their thing. So this little drummer boy in her batakari could just go and hide somewhere. Thankfully, I did not mix my words up. Thankfully, I did not drop my stick or the drum. And I have very fond memories of it now. But honestly, at the time, not good. Not good.
My God. But that is such a classic story, though, because one, you'll never forget it. And two, now you understand the power of being prepared all the time.
Seriously. Seriously. Hey, Pawijo and Parappa. I never listened to the little drummer boy without remembering that story.
Oh, and the only words I know is come, they
told me Parappa. The newborn king. Let me not go into Parappa.
Oh my God. Now I feel like going to Parappa. But that is so incredible. Wow.
Yeah. Good times. Thankfully, I think I was in lower six or upper six, so I didn't have to go through it again.
Oh, wow.
This was also the same year that my year group sang "Oh Christmas Tree, Oh Christmas Tree." And we sang it beautifully, we thought. Later on, Archie called us to blast us. He said we hadn't been animated enough. And I'm thinking, how animated can you possibly be when singing out a Christmas tree? So she had us sing it again at closing assembly. And myself and my, compatriots decided to be extra animated Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree.
You were trying. Oh my God.
Good times.
Those were fun times.
Yeah. Speaking of decoration, though, I have something to show folks. I don't know if you noticed, but at the beginning of the show, my hands were down because I had a pair of scissors and a sheet of paper. And I'll tell you what it is that I was doing that I'm sure will trigger Christmas memories for everyone.
No. Oh!
Who did not do these things?
Do these paper things? Wow, with the ringy.
I know, that's what we decorated our homes with, right?
Papers too, right? So you do like pink, red, and then hook it to a green, to a white, and then you continue and you do it again. Oh my God.
That was our tinsel. That was our garland, And then the other one, who remembers this one?
Oh, I cannot believe you remember this.
Listen,
oh my
God, was a big deal for me.
Wow.
Christmas was a big deal for me. So
how to do this anymore.
Oh, I'll teach you. I'll teach you. As I thought about Christmas and the things I did growing up as a child, these two things certainly came to mind. We would put a string across the living room. People don't exchange Christmas cards as much now, but growing up, Christmas cards were a big deal. Certainly in North America, Christmas cards are not as big a deal.
Yeah.
But in Ghana, potentially maybe still in, the UK and other parts of Europe, Christmas cards are still a thing. And so you'd put a string across your living room, and as the cards came in, you would string them.
Put the cards on. Oh my God.
You'd string them along. Those are some of my great memories. Some of the memories involve senses. For example, I remember the smell of Hamatan and the feel of Hamatan. And Christmas has to come with Hamatan, which is the dry season, very cold and dry and foggy in the mornings.
Yes.
And I remember, so we had terrazzo flooring, and in the Hamilton, it would get extra slippery, extra dusty, because you'd have to dust and keep dusting and keep dusting.
Yes.
The sweet thing about it for myself and my brothers was we could skate on the floor because the dust made it extra slippery. So you'd wear socks and run and
oh my God, it's like Christmas without snow, right?
Christmas, and that's what we know. I mean, like every morning you woke up and you saw, you know, the Christmas mist, if you like, the haze. It was so hazy that you knew the sun was up, but you could barely see it because the whole atmosphere was covered in that. And for those of us who are a little further along for what do you call it, in age, you'd remember that the furniture used to curl up. I don't know whether it was a veneer on top of furniture, and the ends would curl up in Hamilton.
Oh, that was the reason?
Yeah, it was a dry weather.
I literally just got it. No way, that was it?
Yeah.
Oh my
So it would
God.
curl up, and after Hamilton, it would flatten right back out.
And I never made the connection, not once.
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Let me tell you, the chat room is blowing up. People are just having such a great time. Professor Elsie says, Christmas card on string was a favorite of mine. Now I know why I hoard Christmas cards. Let's see. Beverly says, getting my cards ready and using cards from the years before for decorations. Oh, that's a great idea too. Wow. Oh, Auntie B, it's so good to see you. I say Arabata. Oh man, I really, really, really miss Christmas in Ghana. I really do. Those were great times. Wow. So tell us more. We're here for it all.
Tell you more. The thing also about Christmas was we were very aware that we needed to give back. And so a huge part of our Christmas growing up, my parents' position was everybody needs to have a good meal, at least on Christmas Day.
Yes.
So they would save up, and a few days prior to Christmas, they would buy like a bag of rice, some bottles of oil, corned beef, you know, tin tomatoes.
Yes.
Whatever it was. And we would spend a day or two before Christmas making hampers. That's when I learned how to make hampers. And so we would make these little hampers or bags and then would load it up in my mother's trusty, you know, at the time she had a Mitsubishi Lancer. Mom and I would load them up. And on Christmas Eve, very early in the morning, very like at dawn, we would go across Accra to people that we knew, and we would deliver these hampers.
Wow.
And I have very, very, very fond memories. I think it's one of those memories that I will take to my grave of my mother and I singing Christmas carols at the top of our voice on the ring road, the foggy Hamilton mist covering everything.
Wow.
And it was barely any cars on the streets. And it was something Mom and I did every single year. She would wait for me to come back from boarding school, which would be about a week before Christmas.
Wow.
And she would say, you've come, let's do our hampers. And would sit and do the hampers and talk. For me, Christmas is about community.
Yes.
And sadly, over the years, that has been watered down a little bit. And if I could give any recommendation or suggestion or reminder to our viewers, to all of us really, is, you know, strip out as much of the fluff as possible.
Yes.
The first Christmas wasn't a fancy Christmas.
No, it really wasn't, was it?
You know, it wasn't a fancy Christmas. So whatever you do, and listen, I love the jollofs and I love the, you know, the jenkplans and the all the exciting things we ate. I mean, Christmas time was the one time where there are four of us, and we used to share drinks, But Christmas, you got your own drink to yourself, whether it was
Hey, man.
Mascatella or Coke or Fanta or
Yes.
whatever it was, you had one bottle to yourself. So Christmas was about celebrating extra, if you like.
Yes.
But you didn't want to, at least growing up, our parents made sure that we understood that it was a privilege. Mind you, it wasn't like we're eating anything, but it was a privilege and we didn't take it for granted. So whatever you do this Christmas, if you can, think about how you can give back. At this time of the year, there's so many organizations and charities. MQF just launched their MQF Heart projects, and they're going to be, donating to, support an orphanage throughout the year for Christmas and through 2023. You don't need to look far, and you don't even need to make it a big production.
Yeah.
At all. But if you need to be intentional about it.
Yes. Yes.
You need to be intentional about it. 100%. 100%. There's so many other Christmas memories that are just flooding my mind, and I just don't want those memories to be overshadowed, those memories to do the overshadowing, because it's extremely important to me, even if it's just one person, especially in these times when things are a lot harder than they were.
Yes.
Do that. Your kids need to see you do it. Do it with them. Don't go and do it and come back and tell them, this is what I did. No, do it with the kids.
Yes. Wow.
Do it with the kids.
That is incredible. Yeah. That is just, and as you're talking now, I remember, and ours at that time, it wasn't like a Christmas season thing, but it also puts your children in a specific position for even more blessing. I remember back in the day, at that time, my dad still was, practicing Islam, and they had something called zakat, which was like every Friday. And they would go and distribute the massas and all those things. So back then, Dad would not only do the masa, he would have like rice and oil and all kinds of things, big things like at the back of his car. And we would go into the Bako market, and you would just see people running behind him saying, Mr. Goodman is here, Mr. Goodman. They had nicknamed him Goodman, and Mr. Goodman in here. And he would just come out and take things out and give to people. And I saw him do that. Now, growing up now, I literally see how sometimes you would meet people and all they need to know is your father's name, not because he's a big man, because he really wasn't, not in the Ghanaian terms, like a big man as in a political person or anything like that. But the fact that maybe he gave them a little bottle of oil, or they remembered him, giving them something either during Friday, Zakat, and he would do it every holiday, really. He just gave and gave. And seeing your parents do that and now realizing how that impacts your own life, it's like a giving session that never ever stops.
Exactly.
He's giving to people are giving to you, you're giving to others, and it just keeps going and going. What an incredible story.
And I think giving doesn't always involve money.
Yes.
Giving involves time. There's so many lonely people out there. You would be shocked to find out that somebody you see with a smile on their face is very lonely. And so even finding time to spend with people, write a note for someone.
Yeah.
Write a note for someone. I mean, like, let's remember the simplicity of these times so that you can just write a note at the end of the year. Write a note to somebody. Dear Amma, I've been thinking about my blessings this year. You're one of those blessings. And I just want to say thank you. And as we enter this new year, I pray God's blessings on you. I wish you well, and you give that to the person. You don't know what you're doing.
No, you do not know.
you do not know. It's incredibly important. And I can't say enough about moments like that. When you remember and you think back about the excitement and all this memory, reminiscing that we're doing, what we're really remembering is the time we spent with people.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what we're really doing. And at core, holidays like this, it's not a happy time for everybody. And I'm careful also to acknowledge that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I think sometimes we get carried away and we assume everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And we say Merry Christmas almost flippantly.
Yeah.
But it may really not be merry for some.
Yes.
And let's be a little sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Back to some of the Christmas carols. There's this very popular Christmas carol that has a very catchy tune, but the spirit of it is just so selfish. And I sing it and then I catch myself. Over the last few years, I'm like, it's, oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. As long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. So it's like, it's catchy. You snap your fingers, you sing to it. But one day I sat down and thought, and I was like, it's almost as if you're saying, so long as I'm fine and I'm indoors and I'm warm and you love me, then outside, let it snow.
Okay, let it snow. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Let it snow.
But you don't know the person sleeping under the bridge. That's
exactly.
Perspective.
Exactly. So, I mean, ever since I had that epiphany, when I catch myself beginning to snap my fingers or, bob my head to it, I'm like, yeah, it's good to be warm and cozy and well loved, but let it not snow, because for you, the let it snow that looks pretty outside your window, for somebody is a disaster.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. This is so incredible. One of my memories is the cleaning before the Christmas. I didn't like it. I personally, being the first child, you kind of had to do almost all the hard scrubbing, and I don't know if you remember, it was like this wooden kind of sponge bead that was very hard, and we didn't use gloves when I was growing up. So you literally needed to use your fingers with like key
soap and the
key soap and like a bucket of water with a rag in it, and you were going. And so I used to be like, every year, yeah, this Jesus that is coming that we're cleaning like
It's interesting you should mention that, and you can't talk about Christmas without talking about New Year, the week. And this cleaning thing, remember Hamatan? This cleaning thing was also a huge deal in our house.
Wow.
Because the policy was you cannot take any dirt into the new year. And so I'm sure everybody will relate to this.
I still do.
The day before, like New Year's Eve,
you will
scrub, you will dust, you will wash, you will, thankfully the Hamatan would make things dry very quickly. But there was this mad, almost frantic push to clean everything from top to bottom, because the belief was, if you took dirt and crossed it into the new year, or took mess and crossed it over into the new year, that's how your new year would be entirely. Also for behavior traits. And so if there's a child that was sulking, because whatever reason, you certainly didn't want to sulk on New Year's Eve, because if you frowned or had a bad attitude,
take that into the new year. So they have like forced smile sometimes, like
I know. But as funny as it is, I think it was really a mindset.
It really
reset.
Was. Yeah.
A mindset reset that we're very intentional about. I mean, as kids, you probably didn't appreciate it, but growing up, and to this day, no matter what I'm doing, I find that on New Year's Eve, I get this little internal push to start cleaning.
And you just clean. Like I said, I was like, even now, I would clean that and then I would still change I'm like, no, I was sleeping on this bed sheet. So I'll wait till it's like 11:30 something, especially when I'm home. Then I would like change my bed sheet. I'm like, I'm going to sleep on this bed.
Brand New Year.
At exactly 12 o'clock, brand new bed sheet. This would And it really is a mindset thing, right? Like you're really cleaning everything. You want to take a shower. You're like, this is the last shower of the year.
Exactly. It's almost like a wiping the slate clean,
Yes.
you
Oh,
know,
wow.
as you started the new year, and a tradition that we had growing up. So when we were very little, we didn't used to go to watch night services. I don't recall ever doing that. So we did our own watch nights at home.
Oh,
Maybe part of it was because we did not, I mean, it wasn't very safe. I mean, like the days of revolution, there was curfew and all of that. So we didn't used to go out at night. But we would have our own watch night at home, and our parents would stay up, and about half an hour before midnight, they would bring us all out of our room, and we would gather around the center table, and they would pray over us into the new year. And I remember I'd fall asleep all the time. It's like, you're very excited because you're staying up later than you usually would. And then, but 5 or 10 minutes into a heartfelt, audacious prayer by mom or dad, you would slowly fall asleep. But we started doing that for our kids too. Would get them out. Even if they were asleep, there was something about gathering as a family to pray into the new year. When we got a little older and before we got into the actually going to watch night service culture, once we did the prayer, then my brothers and I would run out and and do, it was almost like the reverse of for the last. There was something you used to do as kids for the last. When you're leaving and you smack someone and you run, you wanted to be the last to touch. So we did the reverse of that on New Year's Day, as soon as the clock struck midnight. Oh, I'm the first to turn on the tap.
Yes.
Oh, I'm the first to light the stove.
Yes, I'm the first to do. Oh my God.
Oh, I did this first. Oh, I'm the first to flush the toilet. Oh, I'm the first to do this.
I'm the first to eat the last rice of.
I know, it was, I'm the first. There was something special about being the first.
Wow. Uncle Fisher has an incredible story. Funny. In the comment section, he says, Class 3 Xmas party under the tree. Oh God. I have my Fanta bottle, so I'll be the last to drink it. We used to do that. I always used to be the one that wanted to be the last person that had the last bottle of Coke, like and it would be flat Coke, but you would still like. When I finally was ready to drink it, oh no, a bird pooped into my bottle. I have stopped waiting to eat the best food last.
Eat it first.
Yes, because you don't know what would happen if
you don't know what will happen.
Eat it. Like.
But family believed in save the best for last, though. So if you got your jollof rice and your chicken, you ate the rice and left the small piece of chicken or goat meat or whatever it was, and you would savor it a little bite at a time.
I don't know where that came from, but even now as I'm older, sometimes I catch myself doing that.
I'll save the best for last,
and then I will see. Wait, why is there still meat on the plate? I'm like, oh yeah, I did that when I was growing up, and I had to like force myself to. You're supposed to eat it together, like.
Save the best for last. Save the best for last. You did it because it was special. It was special. Like Piccadilly jam biscuits were only around, at Christmas time, and you'd string it and put it around your neck and eat one at a time and make it last as long as you could.
Oh God! And I remember I used to have that around my neck, holding your bottle of Coke, and then.
That was it.
I don't know how, but back then they used to force us to use the straw, like during the year. But then Christmas time, you could like swig it. I think it was like it's Christmas. It's okay. You don't need a straw. So just the fact that you didn't have a straw was like a big deal for me. So you just have your little Piccadilly thing right by your neck, and then you swig the Coke, and then you kind of burp it out very slowly, and you go.
Or if you drank any fizzy drink and you had something spicy afterwards, there was a certain flavor in your mouth that, zing.
Oh my God.
Zing, 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 zing,
So
zing. Yes,
incredible.
yes.
Wow. Listen, before we continue though, guys, so we're going to kind of transition into kind of talking about to my younger self in retrospect, because we said we would. So tell us about some of the shows that you enjoyed and some of the things that kind of, stuck with you. We personally, like myself as the host, and I know all the producers, Elsie herself, every single person was so impactful. I don't have like a favorite. Everybody was a favorite every single time. Um, and we learned so much. I learned so much. And so, of course, Big Sis is going to go in there. Stop it, Zoe, stop it. Elsie's going to go in there and talk about some of the things that she gleaned from it. But if you have a favorite show and what you learned from it and how it helped you in a situation, what the storytelling did for you, the impact it had on you, please go ahead and put it in the comment section. We definitely want to hear from you. And how can we make the show better? This is a show for everybody. We're always by the fireside every Tuesday, just talking about each other, with each other, for each other, helping each other, right? So yeah, but one more, like a last Christmas story before we go into TMYS in retrospect.
No, you know what? This is a good segue into it, because as I was thinking about wiping the slate clean, there was a show growing up. It was, I forget the name of the show, but it was almost like news headlines in retrospect. And at the end of the year, GBC would show, snippets of highlights of the year.
Yes.
And I feel like, having this conversation about the shows that impacted us, and I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be mentioning any particular show.
No, yeah.
Too
many, all of
too
them.
many, and where do you start, where do you stop? But I know some themes, no matter who came on the show, there was always a theme of gratitude.
Yes.
And I think that that's one of the things that we need to be very intentional about. So when I think back on all our shows, gratitude came through so strong. Unfortunately, in a society and in a world that's very full of entitlement, I think it's becoming a lost craft. Growing up traditionally in Ghana, you would, if somebody gave you something, the next morning you would call them.
Yeah.
And you'd say, you'd say thank you when they gave it to you. But the next morning, it was cast iron rule. You called in the morning, or you saw them in the morning, and you said, thank you for what you did for me yesterday. The expressions like, oh, when you hear the rooster in the morning, you hear the cock crowing in the morning, know that it is me thanking you. And so for me, gratitude is one of the themes throughout all our shows. Gratitude came out very strong.
Yes.
And that's one word, that I'd like people to take away with them. Resilience is another one.
Yeah.
Resilience. Every single guest talked about, even in humorous stories, they talked about a challenging period in their life and how they overcame. And that was very encouraging for me, even listening or reading through the chat as people responded to the stories. Thanks to the magic of technology, it felt like we were in the same space and sharing stories and encouraging each other and commiserating with each other.
Yeah.
That is life. And I'm glad that through the magic of the stories that people shared, we were able to do that in a virtual space.
Wow. For me, it was so interesting because almost every guest that would come on, I would be going through something and they would talk about, they would just share stories and it would be an answer for me. It was consistent all the time, like just stories of kindness. Sometimes I was having a hard time being kind to somebody who was not nice to me, and then someone would come on the show, talk about how they were kind to somebody who was not kind to them and how it turned around for them. And then I'll be like, oh, light bulb, duh. you know. So I just almost every single week it would be somebody saying something that was definitely speaking into a situation I was having to walk through. So that
Yeah.
was it for me. It was just a learning. It's like a walking storytelling Bible blue,
Yes.
you know, type thing of a of a
Yeah.
section.
I
Yeah.
mean, to my younger self has become like a life tutorial
Mm,
and a master class in existence, if you like, because the stories we see ourselves in the stories that people
mhm.
shared, you know. It
Yeah.
gave us a,
Yeah.
you know, and you know my favorite word, it gave us a certain perspective. Even if you didn't experience whatever it is that they shared, you certainly identify the emotion and you
Mm,
connected with that, you
mhm.
know.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, the humanity, we saw humanity in our guests, and
Yes.
you saw their real self. It's like our guests who came on the show, no matter who they were, they peeled back the layers and
Yeah.
shared from a very vulnerable place
Hmm.
and made me realize that, oh, this big person, this person that I admire so much, this person that, you know, I never could think we had anything in common.
Yeah. It.
Suddenly they share a story and go like, wait, hang on, I did that. I felt that way. If you
Mhm.
got through it, I can get through it too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, it's just so many things that happen. Auntie Esther says, "I love your consistency." There's one thing that, at least to myself here, is to just keep showing up. That's all of the people that came on the show. The one thing that run through all of their stories was they kept showing up to life. No matter what was going on in their lives, no matter what was thrown at them, they just kept showing up. And in the showing up, something happened. And so that's our philosophy here, to my younger self. No matter what's going on, even when as a filmmaker, you can see I'm even more uncomfortable because I have a red hue. Like everything is just a little off. And I'm not too comfortable with the way it looks. But the point is this: we will stay consistent. We keep showing up because ultimately it's really not about what it looks like behind you. It is the people sitting in front of you or with you telling the stories. And that's what's important, because you don't know what somebody else is going through and what someone will say who comes on the show that needs it, you know? So
Yes.
yeah, we will stay consistent. We will stay consistent. There's let's see. There's so many comments I'm trying to uh again, I just really apologize. You guys are like hanging in there with us. There's a little time lag with
Yeah.
internet, but you're not giving up. And I love that about to my younger self, about our guests, and also about our audience. Man, you guys are the best people on earth. Like seriously. Abba Kato says, every episode I watched had me informed and encouraged. What an amazing year for an amazing show. See, now I think you should go. If we had like a platform, then you would go and leave that comment there. But the one thing we've also consistently tried not to do is to hype it up as a show that needs, um, people leaving comments and all that. It has to happen very organically and naturally, because that's what storytelling is, right? Big sis, over to you, or else you know
Yeah.
me, right? I'll just keep.
Um, the other thing that I've loved about my younger self, I mean, like a few years ago when you know you and I when you called me and you said you had this idea for stories, a story is only as good as the audience. If not, we would be sitting there talking to ourselves.
Yeah.
And for me,
Oh
an
yes.
incredible part of to my younger self experience
Hmm.
has been our audience
Oh yes.
in a way that and because I'm usually in the chat, just interacting with people, seeing the real time reaction to the stories, the little sidebars that go on, the connections that people are making, the
Mhm.
friendships and the relationships that are being born just because the space exists. has been an incredible gift to me personally. And so I really want to say thank you to our audience, whether it's a show, an audience of 3 or an audience of 50. It didn't really matter.
No.
Because you don't always do life with 50 people in your periphery at every given time. Sometimes it's just a one person.
Sometimes there's no one even.
Yeah. And so just seeing the conversations that blossom in the chat room as a result of the storytelling, it has been an incredibly, incredibly special gift for me personally. It's almost like it's a gas in our tank.
Unhook yourself, internet.
Am I frozen?
I think you're not frozen now, but we were, both of us.
So as I was saying, it's like the community, the love, the passion, the giggles, the tears, all of that is the gas in our tank.
Yes, yes, yes. And you know, the other thing for me is how when we would approach a potential guest and they would all say one thing, oh, me, I don't really have that many stories to share. Like, oh, no, I don't really have that many stories. I don't have stories at all. In fact, consistently, most of them like, I don't have stories to share. And then the moment they get in the hot seat, so to speak, they suddenly, it's like a floodgates open. It's the power of storytelling. Suddenly they remember things, and then consistently they would say, this was so therapeutic. I think for me, that is the crowning moment of every single one of to my younger self. When a guest gets to tell us, it was so therapeutic to tell these stories and to remember them and then gain a different perspective. Sometimes in the moment of them sharing the story, they discover something and they're like, oh my God, I forgot that tiny little detail of this story. And I think it's what keeps me personally going, knowing how cathartic that is for the guest. And then to the audience, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten messages and phone calls and emails just saying, oh my God, that was healing for me. That was healing for me. And it's why we're going to keep showing up, whether, again, it's 1 or it's 1,000 people. We're going to ask the universe for 1,000 people, but it doesn't matter. Whoever is in the room is as important as they are, just the way they are. Just so many people. And the consistency of the audience. When they come on in like TMYS family, I'm like, oh my God,
it's a warm, fuzzy feeling.
And then when someone comes in late, you know, people are just saying, oh, hey, you're here. It's good to see you. How are you? That it's so communal and it's just so wonderful. It's so wonderful. So again, what are your favorite, stories? What was your lesson during any of the episodes? You know, we got to launch books this year.
We got to launch books.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Those are incredible moments.
Yes.
We got to sit with authors this year, which was not something we had a year ago. Like just so many incredible things we got to do. We got to launch books in dialects, like African languages this year, which was so special to me.
That was special. I mean, you know how I feel about books and all of that. So for me, the author, and it gave me the opportunity to meet some authors that I didn't know before, and to discover the world they create in their writing. I also want to say thank you to the many people I approached to come on the show, and they said yes. It's a busy life out there. And so I don't take it lightly that people said yes to us. Because if people had said no, I mean, like, look, you and I can probably sit here and talk about just about any subject. But even I would get tired of talk. So thank you to everybody who said yes.
Every single one of them.
To those of you who think that we are not going to approach you, we are coming for you. So get ready.
The defining factor for any guest is this, that you're African. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on some kind of pedestal. You don't have to be whether you've achieved 1,000 things or you've achieved a quarter of a thing. It does not matter. The point is you've lived a life and you have a story. You're African. You can be on the show. That's it.
Yeah. And it's very important that this show is not about successful people, how us people define success.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, success in my book is how you're able to inspire somebody to do good things and great things.
Wow.
And because of that definition of success, everybody is successful because your story will inspire somebody, even if it's a story of hurt. The fact that you're alive and you're telling the story, and the fact that you survived scars and all, bitterness and all, that is success. And there's power in that. And so while many of the people, almost virtually all of the people who've appeared on our show have achieved some measure of success in some sphere of their life, that is not the criteria for which we approach people. We approach people and we invite anybody who's African, has a connection, calls Africa home, or has a strong connection to Africa, but who has a story to tell.
Yeah.
And that story may be about, Yolobos, and that story may be about your Fanta, and and that story may be about, building a center for
photography.
Photography. And I'm thinking of Paul Ninson and the Decan Center. There's no definition to success. Success as an African, because we are people of community, is how are you impacting one other person's life? How are you looking outward? That's really what we want to do in creating this platform, to get people to just say, even if you think, listen, there's nothing I have, I guarantee you that if you pause and you share your story, you'll realize you have a lot more than you think you do.
Yes. And so in that vein, there's so many people already on the platform that we think you should just be on the show. Like Kofi Champong, for example, you've consistently shown up every week. Really, you should be on the show. Professor Audrey, for example, should be on the show. Rob Bold. I'm just looking through and mentioning names because again, it's where there is no criteria aside from the fact that you're African. Okay, so if you are in the audience, Lady Juliet, oh my God,
Juliet, yes,
have stories to share. Auntie Doris, Sean, just all of you, Kala, Nala, Miyoko, I see all of you. For those that I am not mentioning their names, it means they've been on the show already. And there's so many people in Africa. We want everyone to at least be on the show one time.
Yeah. The other thing that we introduced this year that I've loved is the story treasure chest.
Oh yes,
I have really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
and I let me use this opportunity to invite people. I know that some people are introverted, and being in front. I mean, I'm saying it's not a big deal because I'm extroverted, but for somebody, this is probably like, no, I'm not going to be on camera. No, I'm not speaking out in public. I have stories, but this is not my thing. Send us your story in writing. The story treasure chest is an ongoing project. Stories don't only need to be spoken. There is magic in writing. So please send in your stories. And let's fill up the treasure chest, and we will pull them out periodically. It's going to be a regular feature of the show, and we will share the stories. We will share the stories.
Wow. Just as you were ending that, Dr. Vivian sends in this incredible comment. This show made my drive to work on Tuesdays lively. That is one of the highest compliments for us. I'm like feeling very warm and very fuzzy and just going like, wow, because the idea is this, even if we impacted the one person, just one, And for me, it's the opportunity to meet people from different walks of life. My goodness. To the point where sometimes people would text me and say, Zoe, can you connect me to that person? Thinking I should know them. And I'm like, I don't know. Oh, really? Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know them. But it's that opportunity. This year I got to meet, like Uncle Ekolfi Show. Like he just came into my peripheral, with MQF and all the incredible things they're doing. This year I met him. I met so many, oh my goodness, virtually, but still, you know. So that's like one of the incredible things for me, just getting to know people.
Yeah.
And like I said, Elsie is like the octopus, right? Like she like, but it's not 8. Hers is like 1,000 stuck into all kinds of things. And that's the great thing, having incredible producers just doing the work behind the scenes. Sometimes when we get on the producer platform and they say, oh, this person said yes, it's like, whoa, wow. Elsie would say, oh yeah, that person, what date, this, and we're just doing all the planning. It's so fast, it's so quick. It is, I'll get back to you. It's all of that. I cannot be grateful enough.
It takes a village. It takes a village on both sides of the camera. And some people have some of our guests on the show have been because one of our regulars has sent us a message saying that, hey, I have this friend and they have an incredible story. And would you consider them on the show? We thrive on referrals. In fact, self-referrals are also great. We've had a few people on the show who've reached out to us and say, hey, I have a story. Can I share it?
Yeah.
Please reach out to us. If you have an idea for a topic we should cover, and that's one of the things we've done on the show. Sometimes it's not necessarily about a story, but about a topical issue.
Yes.
And, one of the conversations we had this year was about, our emotional wellness and our mental health wellness. And that was also a very important show for me. Yes. It's not always just about storytelling, even though that's who we are as a platform. But, talking about, raising children in the West and the differences, generationally, how we were raised and how things are different now, whether you're still raising your kids in Africa or whether you're an African parent raising your kids in the Western world, the tug and the pull, the challenges. Those are real conversations that need to be had. So it's not always, storytelling as an entertainment piece. But it's the opportunity to educate each other, learn from each other. That has been very important to me this year, looking back.
Yeah. By the way, somebody gave me an incredible perspective. So personally, I've been going through some things, and somebody just flippantly said, but Zoe, if you're gonna be the queen of storytelling, how will you have stories to tell if you don't go through some things? And I just went, whoa. And then she said, you better be very grateful that you're going through some things so that you can, at the end of the day, say, hey, guys, I have another story to share. What I'm trying to say with this is the fact that story is ongoing. It is the everyday living and the mundane things we seem to be going through. Some of the things we've hoped for and didn't kind of really pan out that way, or however else it is. It's an ongoing thing. And just recognizing that you're in the middle of a story literally every single second of your life, you're in the middle of a story, is incredible for me. And that's another perspective someone brought to me personally.
Very, very true. Very true. I've always maintained that. I mean, let me draw a parallel with singing. People who've gone through heartbreak, heartache, challenges, they sing from a certain depth within their soul that carries the music to a whole other level. You can be as talented as whoever. If you don't have a story, your singing lacks a certain dimension. And it's the same with storytelling. And, there's a lesson in everything.
Yes.
There's a lesson. If we open our eyes, there's a lesson in everything. And some of these lessons, sometimes the experiences we go through are not necessarily for our benefit, but for the benefit of somebody we might meet down the line. You might be able to connect with somebody because of a past experience that you probably didn't think much of. But 10, 15, 20 years down the line, you meet somebody and all of a sudden you are able to help them in a way that you wouldn't have been if you didn't have that story. And sometimes that's the purpose of our experiences. It's a seed sown into the soil of our life. We may not eat of the fruit of that plant, but it will feed somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Christmas lovers will chrome. That's one. But also, we kind of like, went into just talking about to my younger self and some of the lessons we picked up along the way, some of our favorite shows, not for us, because for us, every show was favorite. Every single one of them. Incredible. But we were asking the audience what were some of the lessons you gleaned from some of the stories and some of the guests that came on. So that's why we're still here. And technically, and yet Christmas lovers will chrome. It is storytellers will chrome.
Lovers of life are in town. For the non-account speakers.
Yeah, we just really enjoy being in each other's company. But so, Big Sis, we're going to ask you to share one last Christmas story. I'm not throwing this out there. And then after that, we'll do our thank you, say some Christmas, Merry Christmas, and we'll just kind of wind down. And, we should have gotten like a celebratory song that we're going to sing and dance to. But we'll do that for the new year for sure.
Okay, one last memory, which I kind of touched on very briefly at the beginning, was music and how it's intertwined with my memories of Christmas. And one of my favorite memories of Christmas is the sound of the record player and the crackling of the vinyl. And my parents loved music and they had a record player. And I remember my first memories of Christmas music are Jim Reeves' 12 Songs of Christmas.
Yes.
And the crackling of the vinyl as it turned, or Bonnie M's Christmas. And so that cherished record player was in the living room, but he ran the wires to the speakers into our bedroom. When I was very young, I shared a room with my brother. So 4 walls and, each of us had our little space in the room. And I would fall asleep listening to the sound of Jim Reeves' Christmas and Bonnie M's Christmas and waking up to it. And to this day, Christmas has to have those soundtracks. As we grew up, before you were not allowed to it was side A and side B, and you were not allowed to do any of the flipping. There's a wide, berth around the record player that you dared not touch. And we used to run and scuttle around. And I remember, somebody bumping into each other and the needle went across, the record and ruining it. And Chale, we got it that Christmas. But
in trouble.
Hey, we got in trouble. And every now and then I go on YouTube and try to find those old records, the Jim Reeves, the Andy Williams,
Oh my God, Andy Williams. Those were, oh my God.
And then there's a certain soundtrack and vibe in Accra. You went to Makola or Malata Market or Kaneshi Market. Makola was our thing. That was our market. And the market women would put these big speakers, in the streets and jamming central. And there was just a certain happiness. Sometimes you went to buy something and you'd get there and the seller is not behind the wares. They are somewhere dancing and they would shout to call them back.
Yes.
Sounds like and forgive my I'm not a native Akan speaker, so forgive my trees. Like being cassette 24th. Oh man, I mean I think soundtrack of Christmas. Or there was another song, something
Oh.
they come Christmas.
Yes. How did I forget that?
Those
Was that
were the soundtracks.
Jedu Was that Jedu Ambule?
No, it wasn't Jeduble. Bibi Bobronya wasn't it Donko, something Donko. For sure, please help me out. I'm sure he knows.
I'm sure he will know. I'm trying to find this Bibi Bronya thing because, man, I really wanted to be able to play it. But we have a request from a Bold who says we should play Bonnie M. So we're going to find Bonnie M.
Must be Mary's boy child.
We're gonna like try to do it through the phone just for you because we didn't prepare adequately for it. But yeah, we'll play like a little bit of it for you at the end of the show. But let's read a few comments and then we'll go. Ira Bolt says, "Are you guys taking a break?" Yes, Ira, we are taking a break for the next 2 weeks, and I will be back. First week of Christmas, bright and sharp and just ready to take on 2023 with our first guest. And we're going to keep that a surprise for you. Let's see who else is here. Oh, Lady Juliet says, my time is nearly up. I'm glad work allowed me to be somewhat great today. Thanks, Zoe, Elsie, and the rest of the TMYS team for bringing us incredible, impactful stories. You are appreciated. We love
Thank
you.
you, Juliet. Love you, and we appreciate the support and the love.
The black poly bag earned 24. That is so true. So, Bold, which one did you want for the Bonnie M? There's so much on YouTube right now. I'm not sure. We're just, flying by the seat of our pants right now. Rivers of Babylon. I remember that one.
No. Search for the Bonnie M Christmas album.
I see she knows.
Search for the Bonnie M Christmas album.
Okay.
And then it will tell you,
I see Bonnie M Christmas album.
Yeah.
But then that's like an hour and change. We'll just play a few for you. So here we go. Let's see if we get just a few. Mary's Boy Child comes first, so that's great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think Dixie knows. She knows that album very well.
Jesus Christ was born on
forevermore. Because in Bethlehem, still the Holy Bible says, Mary, the boy child, Jesus Christ, suffering on Christmas Day. And I go here, angel, until I smile today.
Alrighty, so we'll
Well, everybody go play it today and dance to it.
Play it, yes, and dance to it. But Bold, that was for you. And guys, it has just been incredible. I know we said all our thank yous to our audience, to our guests, every single guest that came on the show. For just producers and sometimes it wasn't even the team. It was like, producer Elsie said, it's somebody else saying this person would be a great storyteller. This person, one time I woke up in the morning and there was like 3 messages from 3 different people going, hey, I have a guest for you. That day was very surreal. I'm like, wait, what's happening in this universe? All of these people have guests for me, and there was like 3 back to back, and they were all incredible guests. So, I kind of take to say thank you. We are doing this because you're allowing us to do it, to come into your space every Tuesday and just be a part of your world, laugh and just be, just be a part of your life for a few hours. Well, we started off as 45 minutes, but storytelling can never take 45 minutes, not the African one anyway. And we're just so grateful for all of you just saying yes. It's been such an incredible year, specifically for To My Younger Self, just grown leaps and bounds. And we're looking forward to an incredible one coming up next year. The one thing I do want to leave with you is this, especially for those that I have to phrase this message very well, because everyone kind of not everyone, but around the world, we all know what Christmas is. Even if you're not celebrating Christmas, you know what it is. But especially for those who really takes Christmas very seriously, like the Christians, and they know the significance of Christmas. Elsie really did touch on it a little bit, but let it be about the people around you, not the things. I lived in New York for a long, long time. And it was, and this story is still developing. So I'll tell you more about it, when the story has blossomed. Let's put it that way. But for a while, I would spend Christmas Day by myself. And it was very difficult, very, very, very difficult. I don't know why, but back home, we would recognize if somebody's alone and we would invite them home, or it was easy to just show up to someone's home and just say, it's Christmas Day. And so I came to visit you, and there was nothing wrong with that. Especially those who live in the western parts of the world, it's very difficult to just show up at someone's home during Christmas. If you see someone who kind of lives by themselves, who maybe does not have family around them, make it a point, especially if you're going to have a family get together. This is going to be my project for the next few years, maybe the rest of my life. Invite people to come in. Just say, come in. Even if all you're doing is drinking water, I guarantee you it's really not about water for the person. It's the fact that there's another person by them to talk with them for a few hours. It is so important. It is so important. And I constantly got this thing, oh, I assumed you would be here. Oh, I assumed you would go here. And they would. So you just end up being by yourself on Christmas Day. And no matter what you did by yourself, and you're trying to make yourself happy, whether we like it or not, people add to the happiness. You know what I mean? So guys, especially for those who came from different countries, if you meet an immigrant, this is an immigrant story for sure. If you meet an immigrant somewhere, ask them, do you have a place to celebrate Christmas? It's so important. It's so important. It can't be a matter of life and death for some people. I'm speaking very passionately about it because, Elsie said it best. When you've been through something, the way you talk about it is different. The way you sing about it is different. Invite somebody to your home. Let them be a part of your Christmas celebration. That's what I will leave for you this Christmas. Irabol, she says, thank you, TMYS. Love the stories. Well done, Zoe B. Elsie Dickson, she's no, I've got nothing but love for you. Great job, TMYS. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Ira.
Let me add that it shouldn't be only at Christmas, but as often as you can, Zoe. Yes, it shouldn't only be at Christmas. And I think next year we will take that. We'll take that up. Don't make inviting people to your home just about so Uncle Akko says, wow, that's what we do every Christmas. We open our home to everyone, especially people. The Ghanaian community, we have just moved into the neighborhood. With that, Yaola, welcome home on Christmas Day. See, that's what we like to
That's how we do it. That's what's up.
Do it. Just open up your home, even if you don't celebrate Christmas, and you can just hang out with people. Or if you just want to sit with somebody and have a cup of coffee, that can also be Christmas. It's very important. And with that being said, Elsie, what is the last thing you want to say?
Give, in all of the busyness that comes with this season, I would just say, give somebody the gift of you.
Yes.
Give somebody the gift of you, and don't limit the potential recipients to people who are already in your life.
Mm.
Though that may be the case. Think a little bit beyond, your immediate circle.
Mhm. Mhm.
And thankfully there's so many ideas out there. And if you want to talk about it some more,
Mhm.
please reach out to me. I have a lot of ideas about how we can do that.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily about what comes wrapped in a present or in a gift bag,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, that's not what we remember.
Mhm.
It's about the time we spent with people and
Mhm.
how we impacted their life. You are the best gift that there is. No
Yes.
matter your circumstances, no matter what you're going through, you are the best gift there is. I'm a
Mhm.
firm believer that if we were not meant to live in community,
Mhm.
God would have placed each of us on an island, and he could have easily created however many million islands, billion islands that we
Yes.
need. But there is something about doing life in community.
Mhm.
And Christmas time is one of the times you can think about widening
Mhm.
your definition of community,
Yes.
just to make things a little easier for somebody else.
Mhm.
Look outside, don't look inwards.
Mhm.
The only time I would say it's a good thing to look inwards is when you're going through that period of reflection and thoughts about how far God has brought you, what you're thankful for,
Mhm.
and the things you want to do differently in the year ahead. I'm not a big one for New Year resolutions. I've made them in the past, and honestly, by the second week of January, it's fizzled out.
Especially the weight loss part.
Oh Lord, the weight loss, exercising, and all of that.
Yes.
No,
Good.
so it may be a cop out, but I don't make them anymore. I also don't wait till January 1st.
Yes.
Every day is an opportunity to do different, to be better. And I
Yes.
think once you start thinking about it, it takes the pressure of the word resolution off of you.
Yes.
So from my heart to yours, from my home to yours, from my family to yours, have a truly, truly memorable Christmas, end of year, and New Year.
Mm.
Remember, the very first Christmas was a very, very simple one in unusual circumstances. So look for God in your unusual circumstances. He's right there. And sometimes he wears the face of a friend.
Yes. Woo.
God bless you and
I
Merry
can't,
Christmas.
I can't add on to it except be on the lookout because he can wink at you. I mean, Elsie, she says it way better. God can wink at you. What do you normally say?
Look out for God's winks. He's winking, so look out.
So look out for God's winks. And just before we close, we're always saying that we want you to patronize Ghanaian entrepreneurs, African entrepreneurs, and this being the last show of the year, we definitely are not going to kind of, slack on that. I was actually supposed to do that before Elsie gave her last statement, but it's okay. We're storytellers. Some of the people we think you should definitely reach out to and kind of have, just patronize them this Christmas is Where Ghana. Actually, Where Ghana is in America now. Woo woo! So Abna, I know Rabna is in the DC area and she's doing a few pop-ups and a few shows. She might collaborate with a few people in the DMV area. So listen, just show up, okay, and patronize her. That's another way to kind of be there for each other. So Where Ghana, definitely. Humanity Chat by Margie Marge, coming on every Thursday evening at 7:30. You definitely want to tune in so you can just explore people from all around the world and what they're into. It's so interesting. Koa Designs in Ghana, of course, music for your quality feet. Clatural, M. Sims by Mabel Simpson, Ryle by Design out in New York, Nyack, Avonzige Bridal. We have Keys and Credo by Nana Sapa, Horseman Shoes, Caveman Watches. Of course, our very, very own big brother and friend, Nana Awere Damoah and Kofi Akpagli of Book Nook. Okay, buy a book for someone this Christmas. Yes. Definitely do it through Book Nook. Okay, I just have a lot of books that I am reading now, and I'm ashamed to say I never really went on Book Nook to kind of get them because sometimes it feels easier to get it on Amazon. But let me tell you, we're all going to change. It's not a resolution, but we're just doing it now. we're changing and we're going on Book Nook. And yeah, you might pay a tiny little bit extra, but you could actually get the book faster than you would get it if you got it on another platform that starts with an A. We wouldn't mention the name. Kunda Kids, just developing incredible African stories for children and young adults. To our monthly donors, Auntie Rose Machayo, oh my goodness, every single month consistently, thank you. Jane Fiorito, thank you. Auntie B, thank you. Let me see. Araba, thank you so much. Auntie B of Exceptional Care, thank you so much for all of your help, not only monetary wise, but also in prayer and in support. Mr. EKD, my goodness, these guys just every month consistently being a part of us and helping us be on the show every single week. We truly appreciate you. We're very, very grateful for all of your help. And with that being said, I'm going to say Merry Christmas to you. But how about we do some Merry Christmases in a few languages? So, Afio, Afi, if you speak Ga, Afio, Afi to you. Ni to Yompal to you. If you speak Kasal, that's my language, right? Ni to Yompal is also like Happy New Year. I think Ga is also the same, but for us, Merry Christmas and New Year is the same, right? Afishapo, Yamawa Fishapa. In Igbo, they say, Eze Ekeresimasi to you. I got that right. Africans will say, Jisiande Kafers to you. Of course, Japanese people will say, Meri Kuri Sumasu. That part just tickles me. Baraka da Christmas, Sanumu da Sabo Shekara. If you speak Hausa, Mele Kaliki Maka to you. If you speak Hawaiian, we were just talking about that over the weekend, how that, there's a song about that. Mele Kaliki Maka is something. The Yorubas will say, Ikini Odun Keresemasi to you. We are so grateful. Swahili would say, Christmas Njema to you. Sudanese people would say, Wulijen Natal to you. Somalis will say, Christmas Wanang Sang to you. Of course, in Eber we say, Blunya Nao, Blunya Nao. Elsie, did I get that right?
Blunya now. Blunya Bojo Benye now.
Hey!
You did.
The Shaunas will say Kisimusu Yakananga to you. Feliz Natal if you speak Portuguese. And Bixis, how about you do the French one? Because I know you speak way better French than I do.
Joyeux Noël.
Yay, Joyeux Noël to you. And of course, if you speak Bambara, Sambe to you. Guys, what an incredible pleasure. We will see you next year, bright and just rejuvenated and just, recalibrated and ready to take on the year of more storytelling. My name is Zoe Baraka. It's been an absolute pleasure being the face, because the hard work is done behind, and I get to just be the face of the show. But the faces of the show is really Elsie Dickson, Yidanako Bigbila, Sumaya Uthman, Sedinama Vevo, Emmanuel Sorogo, and Abu Uthman. These guys, man, knock it out the park every single week. Thank you. Zoe Baraka signing off, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, guys.
Bye. Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So Timbuktu, Ghana, Mali, Sumanguru, what you're shown. So Timbuktu, Ghana, Mali, Sumanguru, you know what you're showing. Manchester, no Sumanguru, you know what where they get, what you're showing.